Yo, this is episode 4 of the Retro and Modern Gamers Hub podcast, starring Nintenja today, doing it solo, flying solo, kind of like Han Solo, but not as cool, and probably fatter. He was in pretty good shape at that time, Harrison. So we are shooting it off. We are doing a May 4th Star Wars special, even though we're a day late, a dollar short. I would say, but we're going to kick it off with Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. We talked about Star Wars before, obviously. Let's be real. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty legendary. Star Wars has been around for a long time. I'm sure it's going to be around for a lot longer time, even if Disney tries to kill it. I don't know if you can kill such a big franchise. It's just one of those things. It's like the government. It's just too big to fail. But we will see about that. But I think I'll die, and they'll still be making more Star Wars content, I'm sure. Um, and when we think about Star Wars, we think of the movies. We had the first movie in 1977. Second movie, I do believe 1980. Third movie, 1983. That's Return of the Jedi. These are the three, gold standards. This is before DVD, Blu-ray. Heck, this is right around the time I think of Laserdisc and VHS type of stuff. I remember as a kid, I saw Star Wars on TV for the first time. I was mesmerized. I fell in love. Um, I think flat earthers, globe earthers, regardless of what you think the universe is, I think that everybody can agree that Star Wars is a excellent piece of fiction. That we can only hope that one day we can ascend as a society to, being that it's a galaxy far, far away. Wouldn't it be cool if we had the Force and lightsabers? I think that would be pretty neat. Star Wars is pretty interesting. It went on TV for the first time. It got we got to see it on TBS and all that stuff as kids, as 80s kids. And, if you were born in 85, 84, 83, you probably saw it on TV around like 87, 88, and you're probably blown away by the trilogy. You probably fell in love with it the same way you probably fell in love with James Bond at that time. But that's a subject for another day. Star Wars has had lots of good stuff, I mentioned this before on the podcast. They had the expanded universe, all the good stuff. Now we have the Disney universe, for as well as that's doing. No comment. But we've got the expanded universe and all those great things. But one thing big with Star Wars we've got is a lot of games. A lot of freaking games. Um, you can go back, they've got those old I think the LucasArts games, I think there were some kind of Star Wars games. But we've got just a ton of older games from like the arcade, Star Wars arcade. We've got the NES. I think they had an Atari Star Wars game, if I'm not incorrect. Yeah, NES had the Star Wars trilogy. Super NES had the Star Wars trilogy. Uh, the Super Star Wars trilogy. We've had all these things. One thing about some of the older games is the difficulty. Super Star Wars, if you play it on Super NES, there's the trilogy. It's beautiful. It's got decent sound. It's 16-bit sound, but it's got decent sound. You've got these great levels. You're playing as the characters. They look like the characters more or less. It's side scrolling. You got these epic moments. Battle against Boba Fett. Stuff like that. You got the Rancor. I think they have battle against the Rancor in one. There's the Darth Vader battle at the end. There's the T-16 Skyhopper or whatever it is. I don't know. There's all these moments in the game. No, actually, the Land Speeder. Sorry, but there's all these moments in the game um, that are just really great. Right? It's like taken straight out of the movie. And it really was like playing with power. We were like, wow, it's so great. But if you go back to those days, a lot of those games are difficult. Are difficult because they were meant to be multi-day rentals from like Blockbuster and places like that. So ultimately, they didn't want you to beat it in one sitting. They wanted you to take your time and learn to master it. And they didn't have online multiplayer. This was the game. The single player gameplay was your gameplay. That was it. So I mean, ultimately, they wanted to give you your full money's worth, and if they can only fit so much content, or write so much content, so what would they do? They make it hard. So this content was hard to access. Of course, you had the password system and this and that. There wasn't a safe system in those games, but ultimately they were difficult. A little while back, out of my love of Star Wars, especially like Super Star Wars, I made the Super Star Wars Jedi remaster for the first game. It ended up doing pretty good. I think it's got like 1,200 downloads on ROMHacking.net. Um, a lot of people liked it, luckily, and a couple videos are made online about it. One on RomHack Long Plays made a video about it for an hour. They got like 10,000 views. I was pretty proud of having it on there. I recently finished the entire trilogy: Super Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Super Star Wars: Return of the Jedi Remastered Trilogy. It's all done with. It's got MSG1 CD quality audio built in, so you can download those audio files and listen to the full John Williams movie-like score. Pretty freaking awesome, I'm telling you. Um, it's the best way to play. I would say any Super NES game you can play with the MSG1 CD quality, uncompressed audio. You should absolutely get the soundtrack, patch that ROM game, and play it because it is a big improvement over that 16-bit, sound that we all know and love. But we're in the 2024. We're in the 21st century. I mean, you know, let's be real about it. We want it to sound good. That's one way you could bring these games into the future and not have them left behind. So big fan of the Super Star Wars trilogy. You could check it out. My ROM hacks on that. Little self promotion here. Might go a long way. But I have a link underneath my profile on these two Discords, the Retro Gamers Hub and the Modern Gamers Hub, where you can pull out, go grab those ROM hacks, patch them to your own ROMs and play them and let me know what you think. If you need any help with that, let me know. But moving forward with Star Wars, this big Star Wars special we're kind of running with here. We fell in love with Star Wars because of the characters. They were really freaking good. Let's be real. Things were kind of simple, but things were also complex. But not in a way that every man couldn't understand and relate to it, or every woman couldn't understand and relate to it. Ultimately, they painted a world in a very well done way, and I think they were pretty successful with it. Now we've got going forward in the gaming, we've got the Super NES era, obviously. Then we've got the Sega CD, Sega 32X. We had some stuff there. Then we went on to the PS1 era. On the PS1 era, there was quite a few Star Wars games. They had some Star Wars PC type ports that went over. The N64, of course, had the really good Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, which is pretty darn good. It had Star Wars Rogue Leader. It had Star Wars Battle for Naboo. Those were two great flying games, and of course, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire had a lot of flying too. That was, of course, a part of the expanded universe movement in like 1996 to create like a whole new Star Wars movie without a movie. I love that so much. That was just like such a great thing about the 90s that they were just like trying new things, and it's really cool. And they were willing to add something to it, add something to the lore. Really great. Going forward, with Star Wars, it's kind of an interesting thing where we're at today. All the movies kind of have amazing special effects now. It's not as grandiose as it used to be. When we first saw the original Star Wars, nobody was doing those types of effects, those visual, practical effects. Nobody was trying to do all that. Nobody had the people, that the talent they had to make these special effects come to life was just incredible. Really was like a godfather for this, explosion of special effects we have today. Would have never been possible without movies like that, without Tron, without the amazing and practical effects of Indiana Jones, without Alien. I mean, these are really the big ones, right? And then we move into Jurassic Park, where we get to blend in kind of like physical and CGI. And then we eventually just branch over fully with CGI in movies like Independence Day and stuff like that. We start to see way more CGI than physical. And then eventually it leads on to, all CGI basically today. We're in basically a CGI, I guess you want to call it a golden age. I mean, they can make anything with CGI very easily. You can take After Effects and all kinds of different programs that used to be like studio, only. And now you can just make your stuff at home if you want. It's kind of incredible, but it kind of takes away from, you know, it's impressive to still to see what Marvel's able to do and what Disney's able to do with special effects today, and other companies are able to do with special effects today. But it's just not special like it used to be. It's eye candy. It's amazing to look at. I'm sure the new Planet of the Apes is going to be amazing technically, but it just felt very special whenever you were seeing the practical effects of Star Wars somehow making into these incredible, a world far, far away, and that you never could visit, but you feel like you're there. It's kind of incredible. And I feel like in that regard, I feel like that's kind of the lost art of like, like visual effects in cinema. We're kind of just moving into this age where like, eventually AI is going to be doing it all. And I'm not going to say it's depressing. Might be able to say exciting. We better bring a lot of different worlds to life very easily and very cheaply. But ultimately, I think some of the magic's kind of lost there. But that's just one person's take on it. If you love Star Wars, this is a good time to think about, Star Wars and watch some good Star Wars content. And we will see what the future holds for Star Wars. I'm excited to honestly dive into the expanded universe more and more, and to ignore everything that Disney puts out, more or less, unless I guess it's the Mandalorian or another Han Solo movie that was kind of neat. But yeah, I'm more or less excited to expand into jump into the expanded universe, and I'll try to keep up with some of that, and maybe I'll let you guys know what I'm reading as I go in these podcasts. I want to talk about another legend of the screen, Nicolas Cage. He's in a movie called The Arcadian. You should check it out. It's pretty good. Weird effects in it. Pretty neat stuff. CGI, yeah. I think there's some practical in there for sure. Kind of a lower budget movie, but hey, I think Nicolas Cage has really been bringing it, and I'm pretty excited to see where his career goes next. I mean, he kind of had that time where like he was the biggest star in Hollywood. Nicolas Cage was the man, the leading man, like Con Air, Face Off, The Rock, Snake Eyes. He just killed it, right? And then he kind of just fell into this like B movie thing, right? Like these desperation roles, all these movies just plucking him out. And they were like straight to DVD. And now he's kind of like really picking his roles. Like Joe was incredible. If you haven't seen Joe with Ty Sheridan, it is a great movie. Another great movie he did, Pig was a great movie. It's not quite what you think it's going to be. There's a lot of depth to that character. Nicolas Cage plays the Arcadian. Is a good movie. Not a great movie, but it's a good movie and it's worth watching. Willy's Wonderland was super good with Nicolas Cage. Better than Five Nights at Freddy's, I feel. Much more entertaining in my mind. He plays this weird character that doesn't talk the whole time, but is just so dedicated to what he's doing. I think you'll really like it. Let us know in the Discord what you think about these movies if you watched any of them. But yeah, Nicolas Cage has really been on a resurgence. He's done some great films. Excited to see what he's able to do next. Like we said, he's a legend. He's one of the best actors ever. So it's always fun to see a guy redeem himself. I don't think Cuba Gooding Jr. redeemed himself quite as well as Nicolas Cage did, honestly, because I know that he was doing a lot of B movies after being a star. He was a great actor too, like Men of Honor and Radio and Jerry Maguire. He had some great films too before he started doing Snow Dogs or whatever, and did a couple of Disney movies, and then fell into the obscurity of the dumpster. Straight to DVD movies. Which obviously, if you're an actor, those are great. You'd love to be able to do straight to DVD. You'd love to do straight to pay you anything type of acting roles. But Cuba. I don't know. He never quite pulled out. It seems like Disney. Once you go with Disney, you kind of like go down the trash heap because and then Nicolas Cage kind of did Disney with the Sorcerer's Apprentice and National Treasure 1 and 2, and then from there he was like all B movies. It's really strange that you can get in to a Disney movie and then turn around and be a B movie actor after. It's really weird how that works because you would think that like that would be like the high point of cinema, but it doesn't seem to be. It kind of makes me think why a lot of bigger actors like don't want to work with them. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's a conspiracy behind it. Who knows? But I'm gonna be watching some Star Wars today. This May the 5th shall be my May the 5th, my May the 4th, and hopefully for you, you'll get to enjoy some Star Wars love, and we'll get to see you in the Retro Gamers and the Modern Gamers Hub. Holler at us. Let us know what's going on and what you guys like and what you like to see in the next podcast, episode 5. This is gonna be our shortest podcast yet, but I have things to do, so sometimes we're a little busy. But we're here for you. So just come on in, check us out, and we'll see you in episode 5.